Blog pages can be kind of boring at some times. It's always dependent on what your theme is designing for your blog archive pages, and you have very little control over it. If you're using Elementor and Elementor Themer, then there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. And when you add on the Post widget by Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor, it really adds a lot of functionality that you can do with your posts on your archive page. Hey everyone, my name is Donald from Brainstorm and I make WordPress video tutorials of our products. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and click the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video. So as you can see, we have our post layouts widget that is finally released. Let's go ahead and take a look at some samples. So we have the customize your blog post easily. There's a lot of different options that we have included with this that you can basically create a lot of different layouts. Because we include a lot of different filters and design layouts right here that you can see. We have Masonry, Carousel, Featured, Grid, Events. There's a lot of different ones that you can choose from, and they're all beautifully crafted and they look great. They're not the usual standard blog archive posts that you see in all the themes. And there's a lot of different customization options that you can choose from this. So as you can see over here, we have filters, we have great card view right here, and if we go down we can actually see a live preview of the widget. So we have our 3 blog posts right here. We can sort them over here at the top if we want to by category, and of course we have our pagination, so we can go ahead and do that as well. We also have a carousel view, so we can actually do more than just one view on a single line, so we can have multiple posts in the carousel, and it will just go ahead and page through them with infinite scrolling that's turned on. We have a lot of different look and feels here, especially if you're doing different types of websites. So it may not just be a blog post, maybe you have a recipe site that you're trying to get up and running, or events, things of that nature. So there's a lot of different options that we have available for the posts. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Currently, we have our blog, and it looks something like this. We have the default blog look right here. We have our sidebar, things of that nature. And then we just have our default blog post right down here. And it looks great, but this isn't something that really projects our blog that well, and it's not really for this type of blog. It's a food blog. So we want to go ahead and make this look a little bit more appetizing. We really don't care when the date of it was posted, so we want to kind of customize it a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. In our customizer for the Elementor, we have built a little bit of a blog page. So we have the hero image right here with a page title, a post title widget. So let's go ahead and add the posts UAEL widget from here. We're going to go ahead and click and drag that into a section. And already we can see it is very different from the default look. Right now I like the way it looks, but we can go ahead and customize this a little bit just to show you guys some functionality and some features of this widget. Underneath of the skin, we have 5 different options here. So we have classic, which is what you're viewing now. We have event, creative feed, which gives us a little bit of a negative margin overlap over here. We have card, which is what I showed you guys in the demo. And we have news. So if you're running a news site, we have the ability to show more news-like blog grids. And this is a great look. So we can actually customize the featured posts right here, because this is what this is. This is a featured post, and then you have your regular post here. So we have the featured post that we have our customization available for, and we'll go ahead and dive into that in just a bit. So for the classic, we have just a classic view. This is what a lot of blog posts can look like. We have many different options. So let's go ahead to general. And under general, we really want to show, this is really just to show how many of the posts that we want to show. So we have 6 right now. We have them in columns of 3 and a layout of grid. We also have 3 other options of Masonry, Carousel, and Featured. We went over the Carousel a little bit in the demo, but we didn't touch on Masonry and Features, and we will in just a bit. And then we have the pagination option. So we have none. So down here at the bottom, you don't see any numbers or anything like that. If we choose numbers, we can go ahead and have the numbers here. And of course we have infinite. So this is infinite scrolling. And we have the ability to go ahead and as we scroll down while it's live, not while it's being built in the Elementor backend, but when it's live, we have the ability to, when we scroll down, more and more posts will load. So it's a lazy loading if you're more familiar with that term. So let's go ahead back to none. For our query, we have different options for this. We have two options, and right now it's defaulted to custom query because this allows us to choose which post type we want to do. So if we have posts, pages, or if you have a custom post type enabled with toolset or custom post UI, you can go ahead and select those from this drop down as well. And then we have some different filters rules. So we have category filters to match or exclude. We have author filters, the same options. And we have post filters. So if we want to only show a few posts, or if we want to show all of the posts except for maybe one, so we can filter that out by title as well. Underneath of here, we have ignore sticky posts. And if you need more information about that, definitely check out the helpful information. We can link it below in the description. But there's a certain way that you can actually enable sticky posts on each blog post. Offset allows you to go ahead and offset one or two blogs here, so that if you wanted to do two different blog posts, you can show the latest two at the top in a specific way, and then the rest will always be offset from those two. We have post order, so we have post by order by date, title, random, or menu order. Menu order is something that is on the backend settings for the blog. And then we have ascending and descending for the order. If there are no posts found in that blog or that archive, then it will go ahead and show this message right here. You also have the option to display a search box or not. It's not going to show here because we have posts, but you can actually have the option to show it or not. For filterable tabs, we have what we showed you in the demo. If you go ahead and turn this on, the different categories for that post type will show right here. So from there, we can actually filter by categories or the tags. And then we have the alignment, so we can do left, center, or right aligned. And then we have what the style of them will look like. So right now, normal, we have the background color here. And then we have the text color of default black. Add a border or a border radius. And then we have the tab padding. So the different tab padding here, we can actually increase this to something along these lines. So it's always, even with each other. You can do it larger. You can unlink these and do these bigger or smaller, so you can have wider tabs if you want to do something along those lines. So we have something like that just to make them bigger buttons. The spacing between the tabs, we can go ahead and increase or decrease that, and of course the bottom spacing, we can increase or decrease that. And of course the filter separator, if we wanted to separate the filters from the actual post, we can do that as well and then change that color. We have the typography, so we can actually change all of the typography for that. We can increase or decrease the size of the text. We have the weight, transformation, all of these different options that we normally have with the typography. Alright, let's go over to the image. Now keep in mind, we are still on this default skin of Classic, and there's so many different options. And each of the different options change as you select different ones. So for example, keep an eye on what's over here now. If we go to event, we have some things that go away, and then if we go to card and then creative newsfeed, there's things that switch around, and then news, so that there's different options for each different look. So for the image, we have the option to do image position and image size. So for the image position, we can do top or background, which the background is really great. This allows us to get a better view of the image and have it a little bit more minimal look. And of course, we can definitely choose the style of all of these, this content right here. And I'll go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. For the image size, we could do full overlay color. Let's do a nice black overlay. And I know you can't see this right now, but we're going to go ahead and change that in just a bit. Underneath of style, we have all of these options to style the layout, the blog, the title, things like that. Let's go ahead and change the title color just so we can see this, and then we can go ahead and change the meta from gray to white right here. And then we have the excerpt. Let's go ahead and change that to a white as well. So this allows us to see it just a little bit better. We can go back over to our content, and underneath of the image, we still have those options. We can go ahead and lower the opacity down for this, just so we can see the images a little bit more. Underneath the title, we have the ability to show or hide the title, to link the title to the blog post, and of course we could set the HTML tag if we want to do that. Underneath of the meta, we have a lot of different options, so we can actually show or hide it, so that we hide it completely if you don't really care about the date in the comments. Well, we have different tags that we can put the meta in. Show the post author, we have that, we could just turn that on or off. The post date, if we don't want to show the post date, we just want to show comments, we have those options. And then of course we can choose the author icon, so we can do that right here. We have the options for post comments, so if we can turn that on or off. Let's go ahead and do that. We have the post author, let's turn the post date back on. And then we have the post comments, post show categories, and show tags. Show the categories, we can show that right here. But we also have it up here in the taxonomy badge, and I'll get to that in just a bit. So we have the cocktails right here. We can go ahead and turn that on or off. How many categories we want to show max, the category icon, and then of course a category divider right there for separating out the different ones. And we also have the tags we can do as well. Now the taxonomy badge, which is this cocktails right up here that you see at the top, we can show this on the media. So right there we have the above content and of course none. So we can completely hide that if we want to. Underneath we have the same options. We can show the max amount of terms to show, the icon, and of course our term divider. Underneath of the excerpt we could do the short excerpt. So we can go ahead and show and hide that. And of course we could choose the length of the excerpt that we want to do. So we can have 10, we can have 25, we can have 50, whatever you want to do, whichever matches your style more. For the call to action, which is this read more button, we can actually do a few different things. We can turn this on or off. Okay, and we can always get to the post by clicking on the title if you have that turned on. And then we have the text, and then we can add an icon. Let's go ahead and do an angle. Let's do this. We're going to make this after, and we're going to get rid of that arrow. So something along those lines, you can do that. And of course you can increase or decrease the spacing between that if you want to do that as well. If you get stuck or if you need any help, we definitely have our helpful information links right here that you can go ahead and visit. Let's go underneath of style, and we have all of our different options for this. So we have columns gap, so we can make that bigger or smaller here. And of course we have our row gaps, so the gaps between each different row. So we can kind of go ahead and make those the same to make them a little bit more spaced out so they're not as crowded. And then we have our left, center, and right aligned for the content, so we can go ahead and do that. For the blog, we have background color. We can go ahead and choose this, so we can do black, blue, things of that nature. And that's really affected if you have the image, not the background, but the top. So under style, we have the blog, so we can change the background color here to whatever we want it to be. So let's go ahead and return this back to the grayish one right here. Alright, so we have that. We have the padding, so we can control the padding around here. And then we have the border type, so we can actually add a border if we wanted to do that right here, something along those lines. If we wanted to make it a little bit of something like that. Go ahead and get rid of that. And of course we have our box shadow. So if you wanted to add a nice box shadow to this, you could do something along the lines of this, just to give it a little bit more pop from the page. We already went over the title and the meta coloring, so we have those options, and then of course our typography. And then we can actually adjust the title spacing between that and the content. And then we have the meta, so we have the same options here. So the color, the link color, the hover color, things of that nature. And then of course the bottom spacing for that, and then the inner meta spacing as well. The taxonomy badge, so this is right here. Like I said before, when we were controlling the padding for up here, we have different options for controlling the padding here as well. So we can increase this, decrease this as we wish. And then we also have a border radius if we want to make that rounded. We have those options as well. For the color, right now it's set to default black, so we can make this black right here. And then we can make the background white if we wanted to, just to give us some more pop. And of course, we can control the bottom spacing from there as well. The excerpts, we have the different color here. We can change the typography, the bottom spacing from the actual call to action. And then we have our call to action right here, which is basically all of our normal button options. So the text color, the background color, the border type, things of that nature. So there's all of those different options that we can control from there. Let's go ahead and run through a few of these other different types here. So we have the event type. So basically if you have like an event view, it's not really for events because this is going to be your publish date right here. So if we wanted to do that, but this is more of like if you want to show more based on like dates like that. So it's more date heavy content. We also have the news, which is probably going to be the most popular in my opinion because I see so many posts in the different various groups that ask if there's anybody who knows how to do more news type sites. So this one's going to be very popular. So right now you have this is the featured post right here, and then we have our sub posts here. And underneath here we have the featured post, and we can go ahead and change a few different options. We can choose the author, the date, the comments here, so we can get rid of those. And of course we have the featured excerpt length if we wanted to do that down here as well. For the style, we also have the featured post, so we can go ahead and control the title color, the typography, the meta color, things of that nature. So if for one day, if you have a post that's got a lot of white in the background for the image, you can go in and change this if you need to. That's just to make it a little bit easier and more visible for your customers. Underneath here, like I said, featured posts, we have those options to go ahead and turn those on or off. And of course, we have all of our different subsections here. Now, if you want to go ahead and get a little bit more creative, you can use the creative feed. And this allows you to get a little bit more of that negative minimal look that you have with a lot of companies are starting to move over to minimal websites. So you have the very flat options, the negative margin over here, so that you can get a little bit of a nice view. Okay. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and back under style, we have all those same options. And like I said, these style options do change based on which skin you're going to use for your site. So not only did we actually include all of these great looking options here, but we've also included some filters and hooks. And let me explain this a little bit more. So as I was going through, we have our different call to actions, our excerpts, titles, things of that nature, so that we have ways that you can actually insert specific content into those sections before or after. And if we navigate over to the site, we have the filters and actions for post widget. Now you can see what these do, and this is something that you're going to put inside of your child theme. So this is for the posts, you can put this before the outer wrap. So we have the ability to include information before we actually list out all of this information here. We have post after wrap, post before wrap. There's a lot of different options that we can actually insert static content into the site. Let me give you guys an example right here. So we have let's go down to the call to action one. Okay, so we have the call to action. So right now, this is the single post before call to action. So we have this. So if we copy and paste this into our functions.php file in our child theme, and we can actually change some of this content right here so that we can actually echo some text. So this is going to output this sentence right here before we have our call to action right down here. So we can do basically whatever we need to. We can insert an icon, we can insert text, any static content that we want to do for that, we can go ahead and do that right there. So it's a great way to be able to add filters and actions and things of that nature into each of these posts without actually having to hard code it into it. And we've been so happy that we can include this inside of the post so that those who are a little bit more advanced are able to go ahead and add that into their post as well. Now, I know I forgot to mention a little bit about query types. So query type right here, as I was mentioning before, we have the custom query and then we have posts selected. But if we go to main query, we have basically just this one blog post. And what this allows us to do, if we hit the main query, is that, let me go ahead over to the navigation sections, is that with Elementor's Themer Builder, you have the ability to make archive posts for certain categories or certain tags, things of that nature. And you can actually go ahead and dynamically insert different posts based on what you're selecting your display conditions to be with just this main query. So this is going to automatically know, hey, I assigned this template to be for cocktail category, so I only want to show cocktails here. So that's what the main query is going to do. It's going to allow you to go ahead and select main query, and from there, insert just whatever is assigned from that archive post type. So you can go there, select your display options for this template, and then you can go ahead and have it so that it automatically does this. That way you don't have to build out 15 different category ones. All you have to do is just make a template, assign it to the different ones, and from there it's going to automatically pull it in so that you don't have to manually make them for every category type. The main query is what you're going to want to do for the Elementor themer if you're going to go ahead and build your blog doing it that way. Otherwise, for your main blog page, you can go ahead and choose custom query and do your posts so that your blog can actually look a little bit like this automatically for your blog page right here. And this is what it looked like previously, and I showed you guys this earlier. This is what the old blog page looked like. So we can actually go ahead and just convert it from this to something that looks a little bit like this, which gives you a lot more control over your blog posts. I hope you guys find this video useful. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I will see you guys next time.